Welcome. Thank you so much for those of you who, well, first of all, should we just have a bit of a round of applause for everybody who's actually finally made it here? And yeah, a real moment to say the last couple of days have not been very happy for many people in the UK either. So a big shout out to everybody who's been supporting. We've got peers in Scotland who have been evacuated from their homes, and so there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people who've had to drop out, and lots of you who are also here. So we know there's a lot going on. Some people are tired, there's exhausted, there's a lot to talk about around what's happening in the wider world, and we'll be creating different spaces if people need to check out or just have a moment of rest. But for now, I want to say welcome to Retrofit Reimagined at the Centre of Alternative Technology, who you'll be hearing from shortly, and to say well done to all of you for making it and for all the care, love, responsibility you took. I know, for example, Sara picked up stragglers at Wolverhampton last night. I think somebody got in at 2 a.m. and slept on the sofa. I'm maybe not supposed to say this, and slept on the sofa because they couldn't get through. Lots of people have been helping each other out, and we've got a really, really beautiful weekend together. And hello to everybody following us on the live stream as well. Sorry for those of you who couldn't make it. We hope that the live stream is a good way for you to connect in on things that are happening in the main space. So there's a lot. This has been the logistical task of a lifetime, not just the whole festival, but the particular moment when we decided to have hundreds of people from across the country staying in all over Machynlleth and hosting it here with the great help of the CAT team. This is a bit of a logistical moment. So there's going to be some things just to help you navigate that. Then a bit of a welcome into Retrofit Reimagined. I'm not going to make the kids stay in here the whole time. All I'm hoping is if there is a kid crew, I can see my own nephews and Arden Jeevan hanging out there. At some point, I'll just tell you guys to go and introduce yourselves to each other, because there's lots of people who all know each other. And I just want to make sure some of the children who have, and teens that have arrived over the last few hours don't suddenly not know what's going on. There is also a forest school and lots of activities and films all weekend for you folks. So you won't have to, but you're more than welcome to come to, if you want to sit in here all day. I know some of you broke out of school yesterday, so I doubt you want to sit in here all day. So there's lots for you. So first I'm going to tell you some practicals. Okay, then I'm going to tell you a bit about Retrofit Reimagined with Melissa and Sara, who are some of the co-conspirators. And after that, there's very few moments where we're all sat in here together, because the nature of this part of Retrofit Reimagined is it is distributed across a beautiful site with many things happening, with lots of hands-on workshops from hempcrete to straw workshops to walks around the site to woodworking and making skills. There's a compost toilet workshop that I know some people are signed up to, and so it's not going to be like the other sites where we all come into a room together and then we go to something else, So the first principle, like we've had at every Retrofit Reimagined site, but of all of them, this one we really need everyone's hands-on in to help co-host the site. So tips on what does that look like. If you know one of the children are with us and you see them wandering off somewhere that perhaps doesn't look like where they should be going, perhaps just check in on them. If you find one of them lost or needing a drink, or you see somebody not hydrated or not sure what to do, or for some people it's like actually one of the first times as a neighbour that they're even out of their neighbourhood, let alone out of their city, and they're not necessarily sure, can I go to this, do I have to be a builder to go to this workshop, or can I just turn up? Or there's a little bit of uncertainty. Everyone together needs to help the Civic Square, the We Can Make, the Best Heal, etc., all the other people who are part of this that you'll hear from shortly, help us to make this both a safe, really caring, nurturing, inclusive space together. There's a couple of quiet spaces, and one of the main principles is helping each other to navigate that. The first couple of hours, just as you all get to know the site, are normally the bit where everyone's a little bit tentative, and hopefully that will just ease up over the next couple of days. Secondly, there's always 2 slots for food. You'll see them in here. If you haven't grabbed one of these, please grab one of these. It's probably quite obvious that people with access needs or younger children or others may need to go to the first slot. From the amount you'll hear my nephews ask for snacks, you'll know that the kids will be running towards the food. So if you're like, I'm cool, and it's looking a bit busy, choose the next slot. If there's a moment where maybe you need to give space for others, please do. If there's somebody else who needs something more than you, or you've been to a workshop before and it's at full capacity, and you're like, oh, I've been to something like this before, I don't need to take up space here, I'll go to something else. Please do. We're going to need all of your help with that, because as much as the team will do as the best they can, there's many different people from many different backgrounds with many different starting points in this space of retrofit. Some have been to CAT, some haven't. Some people really know each other well. Some people are coming here and are like, I don't know anyone. What's it going to be like? Will I be okay? And that's a responsibility of all of us. In the middle of this morning session, 3 busloads of people are also going to arrive. So the dynamic's going to change again. So if you're already here, you're now part of the hosting crew, okay? Because our team is going to have to help those nearly 60 people figure out how to navigate the day, okay? So welcome to the Retrofit Reimagined hosting crew. We're very, very grateful to have you here. And another important thing when you come out of this session is that all of the sessions for today are up on the board. On the wall on the left, there is also the schedule. Sign up for what you would like to go to today. There are some things that are repeating over both days, so don't panic if you don't get one of the first 12 slots. The sign-ups for tomorrow aren't up yet because we wanted to give everybody a chance who comes later to not feel like they miss out on things for tomorrow, because everybody's taken all the spots today. Remember that when the children are in the forest school, they're with the practitioners. Any other time, they are the responsibility of the parents, carers, and guardians here. Of course, as a community, as a village, we look after everyone together, but the responsibility when they're not in the organised activities sticks with the parents and carers who have brought them here. Please do make sure you take responsibility of that to help us all look after things safely. Okay. So the last practicality is that some people have arrived and you're staying all over the place and you've come straight to here. There is a shuttle bus that is moving from the station, from different sites, all through the day. Indy, who I will get her to wave in a moment, Indy and Sara, who are in the ops team at Civic Square, are the right people to talk about if you need to get from somewhere to somewhere else. These are moving all the way through the day, and that is to help access, but there's no, there she is, Indy, there we go, Ops Queen Indy. If you were staying in McDonald or the Airbnb, Indy and her team were the people behind those beautiful breakfasts that got delivered from Birmingham and Cunliffe. Could maybe give her a little round of applause. She hates that. So that's why I did it. I literally did it for no other reason. But the reason why I'm just saying that is there's pretty much we've thought of as many eventualities as possible. So if you are struggling with something, your blood sugar's low, you need to get back to the hotel, you've forgotten something, one of your children has just had enough and they need to go and have a rest, don't struggle by yourselves. There are minibuses, there are secret snacks, there are last time I got stung by a bee. We know everything about where you have to go if something happens. So come to us, okay? Don't struggle with something by yourself. And if you would like to join the collective WhatsApp group, follow the QR code. That is just to help if you're like, hey, I'm in the eco cabin, I'm lost, can someone come and help me? It's not going to be another spammy group that you can't leave for weeks and weeks and years, just to help navigate this weekend. So on the practicalities, that's most of what you need to know. There are keynote sessions happening here. There is a film and a bar and other things happening here tonight. So this is always a space that you can come back to if you don't know how to navigate everything else. But do go and sign up to the sessions over there. And have a wonderful weekend. We're very, very grateful that everybody has made it. Grab one of these and speak to the Civic Square team at any point if you need any help. Okay, hold on. Which one is it?
That was the music.
Okay, amazing. Right, so Retrofit Reimagined. We are now at the 4th of sort of 4 main sites and lots of activity that's happened in our neighbourhood based in Ladywood. You're going to hear a little bit from Melissa and Sara, who are 2 of incredibly large and eclectic and slightly bonkers team of people who were like, should we try and do this in lots of different places in a couple of months' time, because we think it's really important. And we still have Civic House in Glasgow, and if any of you like to join us in Civic House, please do give us a shout. I'll play you a little trailer that shows you what's happened so far on the trip and what we've been doing. Now, don't worry about all the details here, but the question is, why have we done Retrofit Reimagined? Because 3 years ago, I came across some information where nearly £500 million of a Green Homes grant had gone back to government. And when we uncovered and we asked more about why, people told us that there was a low uptake. Nobody wants to do these things to their homes. We can't get people to do it. And I was like, and you know, if you're in our space, social, civic organising, you're like, £500 million to make our homes, streets and neighbourhoods better, and there's low uptake. I don't understand this. Because in the neighbourhood we're in Ladywood, in Birmingham, if you say to people, warmer, safer, cheaper to run homes, in neighbourhoods with cleaner air, better noise pollution, better schools, greener parks, spaces for their children, people are like, yes, of course. If you were to tell someone, would you like to slash your energy bills by half? They'd be like, yeah. Would you like your house to be warmer, less damp, better to be in? Yes. So this idea that there was low uptake was just bonkers. And we won't talk about it lots now because we're going to unpack it over the weekend. But as a team at Civic Square and with our partners at Dark Matter Labs, we're often trying to look under the surface of what's really going on. So we started to realise that this idea of low take-up of retrofit wasn't just people don't want it, there was many different things. This is available in a blog for the geeks, and we can talk about it later, about all the many different factors creating this challenge. But for us, this was really quite bizarre. Now, if we look at this from a perspective of what happens when your house, take it from quite a negative perspective, but what happens when your house is underperforming, it has all these different effects. It has impacts on health, on education, on quality of life, of relationships, of many different layers of things that happen when the home you live in, and we'll hear more about this from Kwejo tomorrow, isn't performing as it should. And we know that that can have huge impacts on, many societal challenges. So for us as a community that we're based in a neighbourhood and we're really interested about the deep power that exists at the heart of our home streets and neighbourhoods, we started to understand that retrofit and starting at the scale of the home would be an incredible place to really think about how we can impact many different challenges. And we recognised that it wasn't just up to us as people. We knew there was a lot going on in the system that also needed to be unpacked. Some of you might have had your energy bills increase 100, 200, 300% over the last couple of years, whilst reading that some of the big six are taking profits that are obscene, right? So we also knew that it's not just all about if us, the people, did better, then everything could be okay, right? But there was this big untangled knot of both challenges, which I shared in that other slide, and huge possibility. And so from our perspective, when I started to meet people like Sara, and you people like Melissa already, and many others that you'll hear from this weekend, at the heart of Retrofit Reimagined was this premise that don't we need to get more people in the room other than just solar, air source heat pumps, massive government programs, insulation, and the built environment sector. Love all you architects, you know I do. But we need to go beyond that, right? Like, there's a lot of people here who also refer to themselves as recovering architects as well, which you'll probably hear from this weekend, and you'll be hearing from the Just Transition lobby later as well, which Charlie and others are here. But the premise was, don't we need to get more people in the room? Don't people across many parts of this work, people working on air quality, on green spaces, on natural materials, on noise pollution, on partners like Centric Lab working on neuroscience and democratizing access to communities of the knowledge they have about what's happening in their homes? Don't we need to connect up the built environment with the poets and the artists? Don't we need our kids to be alongside us, learning about all these other possibilities? And that's where the journey of Retrofit Reimagined started. We did a festival in a field last year, some of you will know, 3 days. It went a lot better than we thought. You know, the AJ and other people did articles about how it was one of the most incredible things that they'd seen. And there was everything from, like I said, poets, artists, communities, our kids, our families, neighbours, those working with community land trusts, those working in the retrofit sector more specifically, students, and so on and so on. And we started to talk about some big shifts. And if you're really interested in the underlying ideas behind this, come to the 1:30 talk and the 12:30 talk by Scott Macaulay and Kate Rayworth, where we go under the surface of some of these. But we knew there needed to be some big shifts. We needed to move away from us seeing ourselves as individual customers with a house-by-house approach, with really confusing information that is hard, where we just have one or two big providers that will sort everything out in our cities in ways that were short-term, with funds coming from government that needed to be spent super quickly, so didn't allow us to be able to build trust and skills and knowledge. And we needed to move away from extractive models that prioritize and agglomerated huge profits to a few people in pursuit of what we often hear when we hear about green growth, right? Don't worry, climate. In fact, someone told me about this, something they'd heard this week, that we shouldn't see the climate crisis as a challenge. We should see it as an opportunity, because there's a huge space for growth and for money to be made. And whilst there's a tiny, maybe like 1% truth in that, we felt like this starts from a really problematic space where we are trying to recreate 20th century economic models to solve the problems that they created by using the same thinking. If you're interested in that, Kate will talk about it a lot more. So these shifts are part of a much bigger piece in our consciousness that we feel needs to shift. And so this was us in the field last year, having a great time. Thanks to all of you who also co-hosted that, because wow, that was bonkers, wasn't it, in the middle of a heat wave next to a reservoir. And like I said, we're going across the country to really basically expand who's in the room, who's connecting, who feels part of this story. And whilst there are many parts of Retrofit that are technical changes to homes, we feel like there's so much more. There's so much more capacity, skills, knowledge, creativity, holistic and systemic thinking that can be brought together. And the first step of that is convening all the people in the country in places that are at the forefront of that. And of course, there's no doubt that's why we're here at the Centre for Alternative Technology, who were one of the first a long time ago telling us about this. So at the heart of this festival is 3 ideas: rebuilding our relationship with land, material and people, with each other, with the land we're on, and with the materials we use. And throughout the festival, if you've missed the previous sites, you will see that there are videos that you can watch, and throughout this weekend and at Glasgow, there'll be loads more on these topics. And I can talk about them loads more, but if you're really interested in this, read The Provocation at some point, which is kind of like a micro-blog, to be honest. And so, like I said, we've gone to lots and lots of places that are just at the heart of this intersection of incredible civic power, technical expertise, knowledge, energy, artists, creativity, communities, neighbourhoods coming together. This was us in a swimming pool in Balsall Heath, called Moseley Road Baths. It's about to go through a huge retrofit of its site and reimagine itself as a community civic town hall at the heart of Balsall Heath. We've been in a woodland for a woodland talk. We've been across, there's no more pictures, that's fine. We've been across lots of other places as well, but you'll be able to see some of that in the video. And so, like I said, as well as practically co-hosting, these spaces are, especially in the times we're in, there is a lot that we need to do to look after one another and co-host in a way that is supportive of one another, and recognises the many different ideas, people, views, struggles, dreams, trauma, things that people are holding, coexisting in the space together. So there's a couple of principles that we ask you to kind of just follow, and we say thanks to Healing Justice London that have always helped us to continue to develop these. One is to be really hard on ideas and soft on people. There's a lot we found when this idea of don't we need more people in the room is amazing, but what we've really learned is that there's a lot of people who are like, we know what needs to be done. You just need to do this. If you just do this, this is the answer, this is the answer, and in reality we know that many of these things are the answer, and if any of us had one of them, and it was just about pursuing that endlessly, we probably would have got there by now. So it's really important to be soft on one another and hard on the ideas and create space for deliberation rather than debate in a weekend like this. Know when to take up space, know when to hand it over. If you're someone that benefits from a lot of privilege and space and is often able to talk and participate quite freely and easily, think about when it's important for you to take up space to support others, to know what to do, and when it's important for you to step back. And if you're someone who's historically marginalised and often is not able to, think about what it means for us to take up space when appropriate, for us to share our knowledges, but also to share with others when we don't feel safe. So we need to create that together, because it isn't just as simple that you bring everyone together and it'll all be lovely. Everybody will feel like they have solutions to hard problems, and that may be true, but we're creating a space together to deliberate on how we actually bring many of those ideas together and take them forward. Please show up as active partners and hosts, not as passive attendees, and really, really look at, and I know this sounds like a contradictory piece with what we're facing at the moment, but look at what it means to really bring joy, fun, and expression, and the capacity for us to grow together as a piece of resistance in times that we're in. If you need to take space out, if you're feeling a bit like, hey, if you're one of the kids and you're like, oh, all the other kids know each other and nobody's introduced me, come to me, man, I'll help you. Come to Sara, come to Melissa. We've all got some children with us that will help others who've arrived later to participate. But that goes for everyone. If you're feeling a bit like, God, there's no one here that wants to listen to what I've got to say, or I don't even know what to do, come talk to us. We'll suggest some things you can go to, somewhere where you'll be able to get hands-on, and how you're feeling about that. It's really important that the how we do this weekend is as beautiful and thoughtful and values-led as the what we do, and that's a really important principle in Retrofit Reimagined. So this is a moment where I just want to ask Melissa and Sara. So on the first slide, which I'll go back to, we talked about a big party of people that are part of organising this. And you'll hear a little bit from Kat in a moment. But Sara and Melissa are from, well, Sarah's got like 7 hats, but I'm going to say Best and Heal for now, and a bit of ACAN. And Melissa's from We Can Make, and they're both partners of sites we've been to and that we're going to. They're going to share a little bit about why we work together and what their hopes for the weekend are as well. Maybe Melissa go first? Yeah, cool.
Hi, it's very nice to be here, because yesterday someone thought that we wouldn't make it here, so it's brilliant that we are. So I'm Melissa, I'm director of We Can Make in Bristol. We're a community land trust, and we've got a little factory, and we make community-led homes using timber and other biomaterials as well. And I just want to say, like, the journey that we've been on as being part of this thing that is Retrofit Reimagined. I went as a punter to that field in Birmingham last year, and now being involved as a kind of co-organizer, co-conspirator. And it's just a kind of little note about the kind of the sense of joy and solidarity that comes from being involved. And I kind of, you sometimes kind of people talk a little bit about kind of the kind of world-building power of fungi and kind of mycelium. And, you know, that kind of like underground network of connections and nutrients, like working like a nutrient kind of mutual aid network, invisibly kind of working below the scenes. And then suddenly these beautiful fruiting shrooms pop up in little locations. And that's totally what it feels like to be part of Retrofit Reimagined as we pop up in Birmingham or Bristol and now in Wales. And it's a kind of a beautiful thing, because making all of those connections and the relationships and making sure that what needs to happen and what needs to get connected, that's all kind of happening. And I think it's just like like, lean into that. You're all invited. You are all now co-conspirators. You are all now part of that mycelium network, growing things. So it's really important. Chat to each other, share what you're doing. And we're going to grow this thing called Retrofit Reimagined, which is so much more than an event, because this is also the relationships, the tools, and the know-how that we can begin to make stuff happening in our neighborhoods. This is where we're going to grow the sense of permission and the sense of agency, but also the kind of networks and knowledge and resources to make stuff start to happen on the ground. And we can feel that already kind of catalyzing and happening. Shout out to Jazz at the back. We're making it happen in the Null West, aren't we? It's going to be good. And that's all of us. So, like, everyone's invited, and it's just really nice. So, yeah, take care of each other, talk to each other, make sure you kind of talk to people you don't already know, and it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And it's just a sense of when there's a lot of heavy, kind of quite nightmare stuff that's going on in the world, it's also to recognize there's a lot of amazing, incredible, extraordinary stuff as well. And that's where we're going to kind of, this is what this weekend is about, and the rest of what we're trying to do about. So yeah, everyone is invited.
I almost had a little friend join me, but you're happy there. I'm really happy to be part of the mycelium network. I really need to be a mushroom at the moment. Something soft, quiet. That would be nice. My name is Sara, and I am here today, wearing a number of hats, but I am part of a community benefit society called HEAL, Home Energy Action Lab, with Sal. Oh, this is reminiscent of before. I share a job with Rachel Owens in the National Retrofit Hub, and I'm also going to be co-hosting at CIVIC House in Glasgow with Best Built Environment, Smarter Transformation, who are the Innovation Centre for the Built Environment in Scotland. And I echo everything that Amy and Melissa have said about showing up for each other and being, hard on ideas and soft on each other. And I think I'll just reflect a little bit on what I feel like people like me in our roles can do. It's sort of this, like, we have a transitional role to play because we are really close to the built environment and we're really close to people who are traditionally involved in forming that. So the architects and the designers and the policymakers and all of that. And with that role, we need to make what we're talking about here much more accessible in the straight up and down built environment as we know it as well, so that it's less about this happening here and other stuff happening there, but actually knitting them together, because we need that. And the opportunity for the growth of those relationships, which is the thing I want to see the growth in, is huge. It's brilliant. And I know that I can see familiar faces here who are more from that maybe straight up and down side of things, who are also reaching into this more intertwined and just fundamentally connected place. So I'm excited to explore some of that, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know more of you and hearing from everybody else. We left London at 11:30 yesterday. We got here about an hour ago. But we got here, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you, so thank you.
Thank you so much, and you're nearly going to stop hearing from me now, but you'll hear more. The film from Weekend Make will be showing during the day. They are co-hosting the Front Garden Retrofit Kits workshop, which you can hear loads more about how magical that's been on the journey so far and in the neighbourhoods, particularly of Ladywood and Null West. And Heal and Sara are also co-hosting and doing lots of different things over the next couple of days. So do connect and look at the programme, which is a great moment to say, oh, let me go, sorry, it's not very professional of me, is it? Okay, go back a minute. Do you want the programme? Yes, please. Yep. So like I said, oh yeah, there it is. That's right there. Yeah, thank you. So like I said, go outside after this, have a look at the programme, pick out what you want to do. Some of the things repeat, stick your names down on things, but also the site is big and there's lots of free spaces. We've put up sheets. If you're like, I would like to host a conversation on, or a workshop on, say when you'd like to do it, what it would be about. If you're struggling to find a space, come and give us a shout. There's also plenty of chance for open space. If you're a bit like, there's nothing on the 55 things happening over the next 2 days that I like, or I really want to share something myself as well, which is very, very welcome. And we can help facilitate that as well. So we're just going to show you a little video of the site so far, and then hand over to Kat, who's going to give us a bit of a welcome and tell you more about their pioneering history and a journey that they started 50 years ago as well. And it's their 50th birthday this year, which I'm sure you'll hear lots more about. So here's the site so far, and it's going to be over to us to kind of, make the video footage from this one the best. Just kidding, just kidding. Sorry, Bristol. Amazing. So it's over to us now to have an amazing... Thank you to so many neighbours and communities from all of those different sites as well, many of whom are with us, and I've just got note that the buses have arrived. So there will be people from Knoll West, from Ladywood, and from across many different communities organising in the country. And this is a great point for me now to hand over to Eileen from the Centre for Alternative Technology, and to say that it's really exciting for us to be here because over the last 2 years, just based on a random visit that a couple of our team members put together a couple of years ago, when we were like, should we just go and check out what Kat are up to? And we got here, and suddenly it was like, oh, everything that we were sort of missing in terms of practical space, being out of the city, access to knowledge, materials, practitioners for many of our neighbours, started this journey of us building a programme together called Skills for Transition, which has been all about democratising knowledge, skills, ideas in the communities that we're in, and learning much more about the history of a place where some people came together with quite a bold vision about what could happen if our energy and many other transitions in this country were slightly different to the journey we've been on, and you'll hear more about that from Eileen. And so it's really exciting for us to be here because there's loads of hands-on things, and for those of us who are in the sort of landlocked inner city will know how much of a privilege it is to be out here, to have the space to play with materials, to understand things can be different, to learn about the journey of a slate quarry that is now a thriving, incredible site. So we're really grateful to be here. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And like I said, please do give them a warm welcome and also help the team all weekend to host and tidy up and look after the space because they've got a lot going on. But yeah, it's really for me to say that for us at Civic Square, the home street in the neighbourhood isn't just this nice place where communities do things that people ask them their opinion, ignore most of it and get on with what they're doing, with making large-scale decisions for how we tackle our biggest challenges. Our home streets and neighbourhoods are sites of deep imagination, huge creativity, massive agency and resource and civic power when we have access to the things we need. And even in the pandemic, we saw the power of what happened in our neighbourhoods when we organised together. And so we hope that this weekend will be a mixture of many of you coming together, from materials to skills to knowledge to how you're organising, connected with some people, like I said, Sara and Rachel, who are from the National Retrofit Hub and are looking at things from a national scale and really understand how we can come together more imaginatively and with much more collective power and hope. On that note, I'll pass over to Eileen, and thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eileen Kinsman. I'm co-CEO here at the Centre for Alternative Technology. I just want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to CAT. We're really excited to have you here and to be part of the mycelium network of organisations and individuals and communities working on retrofit. So I'm going to talk a little bit about CAT's history, what we do at the moment, and a little bit about the bigger picture to kind of put retrofit in context of the wider picture. So the Centre for Alternative Technology is a world-leading environmental charity, a world-renowned eco-centre, and one of the foremost providers of postgraduate sustainability education here in the UK. Our vision is a sustainable future for all humanity as part of a thriving natural world, and our mission is to inspire, inform, and enable humanity to respond to the climate and biodiversity emergencies. We were founded in 1973. It's our 50th birthday this year. Our founders had a vision to set up a centre and a community that could demonstrate simpler, more sustainable ways of living. We've been pioneers of renewable technologies for 50 years. So we erected the first wind turbine on site in 75, the first hydro in 73, the first completely solar heated building in the United Kingdom in 1974. We produced the first alternative energy strategy for the UK and handed it to Tony Benn as Energy Minister, which most of you in the room are far too young to know who he was, but some of you might if you're ages with me. So that alternative energy strategy was in 1977. And there's things in it now that we wouldn't agree with, but there's also things in it that we, there's heat pumps in it, for example. So none of these things are new technologies. We've got all the technology that we need. CAT's Zero Carbon Britain report has shown that we can get to net zero by 2050 or earlier using existing technology. It's not about technology, it's about political will, and it's about behaviour change. We published the first Zero Carbon Britain report in 2007. So Zero Carbon Britain is our kind of flagship research, and it's a model of how the UK can get to net zero by 2050 or earlier using existing technology. So now governments around the world, communities around the world are all talking about net zero and how we can get to net zero. Back in 2007, no one was talking about it. So we produced that first report back in 2007. We've gone on to produce subsequent reports, and it continues to influence what we do. So I'm sure all of you know, I don't really have to tell you, but like climate change is causing widespread, rapid and intensifying changes across every region on Earth, threatening lives, livelihoods and the wider natural world, with the world's most vulnerable being most at risk. At 1.5 degrees of warming, we'll see increasing heat waves, longer warm seasons and shorter cold seasons. 2 degrees of warming will result in heat extremes that would more often reach critical tolerance thresholds for agriculture and health. Current policies presently in place around the world are projected to result in about 2.7 degrees of warming above pre-industrial levels this century. And at the same time, we're presiding over a devastating decline in biodiversity, with 1 million plant and animal species threatened with extinction, many within decades. Humanity must reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions as quickly as possible, and to do this in ways that create a healthier, safer, fairer, more sustainable world for all, and which address the widespread destruction of ecosystems and biodiversity loss. This decade is an absolutely critical decade. We need, at a minimum, to halve global greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. At the same time, we've got to adapt our infrastructure and our ways of living to reduce the impacts of now unavoidable levels of climate change and support other countries to do the same, recognising our responsibilities as a long industrialised nation. This will require action at all levels, so it requires action from communities, from individuals, obviously from government. We need the political will and political change, but everybody has got a part to play in addressing the climate and biodiversity emergencies. So our zero carbon Britain model is a model of how we can get to net zero in the UK by 2050 or earlier. So first of all, we need to power down. So we need to power down energy demand in buildings and from transport and industry. And we need to power up renewables. And at the same time, we need to transform how we eat, how we use land. And all of this needs to be done in a way that provides multiple co-benefits, including helping us to adapt to climate impacts, restoring biodiversity, improving public health, reducing fuel and food poverty, creating jobs and enhancing well-being. All of CAT's work sits within this broad framework, focusing on measures needed to accelerate this transformation, highlighting the most effective levers for change, and providing people with the skills, knowledge, and inspiration to play their part in building a better future for humanity. We're all about providing people with the skills, giving people with this sense of agency, and making people feel, like all of you in the room, that you actually can make a difference. So we have a graduate school here at CAT. We have 8 different master's degrees in different sustainability subjects. So we started out with a master's in sustainable architecture. We've now got, as well as the architecture, we've got green building, energy use, food and land use, ecology, behaviour change, adaptation, and research methods. So many of the things that you will explore over this weekend, we explore in much greater detail on our master's courses. So if any of you are interested in exploring potentially studying here with us, either on a master's, you can also do a postgraduate diploma or a certificate as well. Alice, who's at the back of the room, do you want to? She's got a stand out in the reception area with a prospectus and further information about our courses. As well as the graduate school, we also do lots of sustainable training, lots we've done over the last couple of years in partnership with CIVIC Square. We run vocational training in retrofitting skills, but also in sustainable woodland management, sustainable horticulture, renewable energy, green building, everything to do with sustainability. And we've been running these courses for nearly 50 years. A visitor centre is the lovely visitor centre that you're here in today. Is situated within the UNESCO Dovey Biosphere, and it provides inspiration, information, and advice to visitors from all over the world. We have lots of visiting school groups, university groups, community groups like CIVIC Square that come and visit and have a really immersive experience. You know, one of the things that's fantastic about CAT is that opportunity to actually be here in nature and have a really immersive experience and get that hands-on experience that you can't get elsewhere. So something that is unique about our master's courses and all of our training courses is that it's very creative and innovative and practical and hands-on. So you can study architecture elsewhere in the UK. You can go right through all of your architecture training and never actually build anything. Whereas if you come here to CAT, you actually get your hands dirty. So you'll get, over this weekend, lots of you will get the opportunity to do that. You'll be building things here at CAT. And it's a really fantastic part of what it is that we offer here at CAT, and giving people that sense of agency and that sense that they can actually do something. We've got a really successful volunteering program, so you can come if you're interested. If any of the younger people in the audience might want to do this at some point in their lives, you can come and volunteer here and stay on site for 6 months and volunteer either in our woodlands or in our gardens and get trained up in sustainable woodland management, sustainable horticulture. And our volunteers have gone on to do amazing things and in green careers. I've got amazing history of that over the last 50 years. We're also a membership organisation. If you'd like to join CAT, we'd love you to join and be part of the movement for change. And we have a free information service, which here on site, if you want to go and ask any question about anything to do with retrofit or anything else to do with sustainability, you can also email us or call us, and it's really fantastic resource. We've got something called the Zero Carbon Britain Hub and Innovation Lab, and there's a number of different parts to that. One is training, so we do carbon literacy training and Zero Carbon Britain training. Over the last 3 years, we've trained more than half the councils in the United Kingdom. And then the second part is something called the Innovation Lab. And the Innovation Lab uses systems thinking and design thinking and co-creative practice and brings people together, communities, businesses, government, councils, sometimes all of them together, and looks at what are the barriers to action on retrofitting or the barriers to action on climate change, and then looks at prototyping solutions. And we've run innovation labs on all sorts of subjects with all different communities across the United Kingdom. It's really exciting. We've also got really exciting plans to scale up what we do in response to the climate and biodiversity emergencies. So we've got this fantastic site here at CAT. One of the many fantastic things about CAT is the regeneration of the site. So Llingwern Quarry that you're in at the moment was a brownfield industrial site. It's a slate quarry when Wales was at the height of global slate production. It had been empty for about several decades when CAT moved on, and we have regenerated it into, as you walk around the site, it's amazing. It's thriving with wildlife and biodiversity and lots of rare species here at CAT. So we've regenerated the quarry. We've got plans to continue to regenerate that and create a really amazing space to bring together organisations like Civic Square and other community organisations from across the United Kingdom. So that's all I've got to say. I'm going to be here for the whole weekend. So if you want to talk to me about anything, you've got any questions about what CAT does, or you want to talk about working with an organisation that you're involved in and bringing them to CAT, come and talk to me. And otherwise, thank you. Enjoy your time here. I'm sure you'll have a fantastic weekend. It's a lovely site and a lovely place to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Eileen, and thanks so much, especially to your team who were here like last night at 9 o'clock, making sure pasties were available for us and everything that everyone's doing together to help make this happen, because there are a lot of different things and a lot of people, and we're really grateful to how CAT welcome us with their open arms into some of the slightly more bonkers ideas we might have about what if we brought like lots of communities from across the country for a whole weekend. Yeah, it takes a sense of adventure and some real love to make that happen, and we're grateful for that, and we're grateful for all of what you'll see when you meet the practitioners. Honestly, go on a tour with any of them and you're just going to have the best time. They're some of the kindest, most knowledgeable people that we've met on this journey, so I really want that for all of you. Now, okay, here's a moment where everything's going to go really, really well, isn't it? Because we're going to make this transition, but I'm going to speak this through really clearly. It's the last chance I will have to say this to you. We're a little bit behind, but that's okay because we had a gap in the schedule before the next part of the session. If you go outside, you will go to the wall on the left or on the board where you can sign up for sessions. The 11:30 sessions, which are building tiny gardens and basic tool skills, are super cool sessions, okay? They are quite family friendly, as long as you're with your young person or got an older person with them who you're happy to take care of them. They are small groups and they are out on the site. So they start at 11:30. If you want to go to one of those, you need to sign up and head over, wait in the courtyard, which is just outside the main building for those. Any challenges, there's lots of people with cat t-shirts on, say what you're meant to be going to one of us and to the Civic Square team, We Can Make team, and they'll direct you there. There's 2 keynotes in here, starting at 12:30, with Scott Macaulay of the Anthropocene Architecture School and Kate Rayworth of Donut Economics. They will start on time. If there's 1 person or 100 people, I'm going to start it on time, because if they don't, it'll all go very wrong. In between all of that, there are lunch sittings. You can go grab your lunch, have your lunch, come over. There isn't this massive gap where everybody goes for lunch and then everybody goes to something else, because there's just way too many of us to do that. So you have to navigate some of that yourself, fortunately and unfortunately, but this hopefully will be a good thing. And finally, there's 4 smaller concurrent sessions with people like Raft, Retrofit Action for Tomorrow, and with others. All of them I've forgotten now because I haven't got the schedule in front of me, but you can see all of that. So in order to make the most of today and tomorrow, now you're settled in, if you need a coffee, you need a tea because you've just arrived, give us a shout, we can give you anything you need. Go and navigate how you're going to spend the rest of the day. That will really help. And then after that, you can move freely. If you're here with, especially slightly older children, as an adventure playground, go and see where it is so you know the things. It's just outside. Ask any one of us. If you've just arrived on the coaches and you would like a recap of the welcome, we've got a half an hour gap in the schedule. I'm happy to do it. I'm going to leave it to you, Indy. If coach people want to come in, we'd be delighted to do all of that all over again in here until 12:30. On that note, you are free. Go navigate. Have an amazing time. Look after each other.